Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to read about acute lymphoblastic leukemia or lymphoma. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia or lymphoma, they are neoplasms composed of immature B or T cells, which are referred to as lymphoblast. Immature B cells, they are called pre-B, and the immature T cells, they are called pre-T cells. About 85% of B-ALLs, which typically manifest as childhood acute leukemias, and the less commonly TLLs, they tend to present in adolescent male as thymic lymphomas. A simple trick to remember these is B for babies. So B-ALLs, they are more frequent in children. Epidemiology. ALL, it is the most common cancer of the children. Approximately 2500 new cases they are diagnosed each year in the United States, most occurring in the individuals younger than 15 years of age. ALL is almost 3 times as common in whites as in black and is slightly more frequent in boys than in girls. Hispanics have the highest incidence of any ethnic group. BLL, it peaks in incidence at about the age of 3 years, perhaps because the number of normal bone marrow pre-B cells is greatest very early in the life. Similarly, the peak incidence of TLL is in adolescence, the age when the thymus reach the maximum size. B and T ALL also occur less frequently in adults of all ages. Pathogenesis. Many of the chromosomal aberrations seen in the ALL, they dysregulate the expression and function of transcription factor, which are required for the normal B and T cell development. And in TALL, about 70% of the cases they have gain of function mutations in Notch1, and this gene is essential for the T cell development. While on the other hand, a high fraction of BLLs they have loss of function mutation in PAX5, E2A, and EBF, and balanced translocations such as ETV6 and RUNX1. All of these varied mutations they disturb the differentiation of lymphoid precursors and promote maturation arrest, and in doing they induce increased self-renewal, a stem cell-like phenotype. So they are arrested in maturation and differentiation phase, and we see a lot of immature cells in the bone marrow and the peripheral film. As we have read already that for the origin of cancer a multi-step process it is involved, and the single mutations they are not sufficient to produce ALL. The identity of these complementary mutations is incomplete, but aberrations that drive cell growth, such as mutations that increase tyrosine kinase activities and RAS signaling, they are commonly present. As we have read previously that that beside gain of function and loss of function and the balanced translocation mutations in the genes which control the B and T cell development, other genes which drive cell growth, they are also required for the appearance of disease. Early returns suggest that fewer than 10 mutations are sufficient to produce full-blown ALL. Hence, compared to solid tumors, ALL it is a genetically simple tumor. Approximately 90% of ALL have numerical or structural chromosomal changes. Most common is hyperploidy, which is chromosome number greater than 50, but hypodiploidy and a varied variety of balanced chromosomal translocations they are also seen. Changes in the chromosomal number are of uncertain pathogenic significance, but are important because they frequently correlate with the immunophenotype and sometimes prognosis. For example, hyperdiploidy and hypodiploidy means numerical changes in chromosome. They are seen only in BLL. In addition, B and T ALL they are associated with completely different sets of translocations, indicating that they are pathogenically distinct. Although B and T ALL they are they They are grouped in ALL, but individually they are distinct entities. For the diagnosis of ALL, these 4 steps they are required. First of all, the clinical findings, CBC, which is a complete blood picture, bone marrow examination, and immunophenotyping. So, the patient with the ALL will be having the following symptoms. These symptoms are there are many symptoms, but we are only going to discuss those which are the commonest, and they are more characteristic for ALL. First of all, there is a abrupt stormy onset within days to a few weeks of the first symptom. Fatigue due to anemia, fever reflecting infections secondary to neutropenia, and bleeding due to thrombocytopenia. Mass effect caused by neoplastic infiltration, which are more common in ALL, including bone pain resulting from marrow expansion and infiltration of the superiosteum. So in ALL, the leukemic or the blast cell, they will infiltrate not only the bone marrow and the peripheral blood, but they will also infiltrate the other organs of the body, such as lymph nodes, spleen, CNS. They also involve those organs. As a result, there will be generalized lymphadenopathy, splenomegaly, hepatomegaly, and the testicular enlargement. In TLL, complication related to compression of large vessels and airways in the mediastinum. Because thymus is located in the mediastinum, so when it is enlarged, there will be compression of large vessels or even the airways. Central nervous system manifestation such as headache, vomiting, and nerve pulses resulting from meningeal spread, all of which they are also more common in ALL as compared to AML. This picture shows a kid of around 3 to 4 years with the enlarged cervical lymph nodes. Second is for the diagnosis are required lab investigation. In the peripheral picture, RBC morphology, there will be normocytic normochromic anemia because of the infiltration. Platelets, thrombocytopenia in most cases. WBCs, the total white cell count may be decreased, normal, or increased. It may be increased up to 200 into 10 raised to power 9 per liter or more. And in the peripheral blood film, there will be a variable number of blast cell or leukemic cells. Second is the marrow. The marrow is hypercellular and packed with lymphoblast, which replace normal marrow elements. In both B and T ALL, the tumor cells have scanty basophilic cytoplasm and nuclei somewhat larger than those of the small lymphocytes. The nuclear chromatin is delicate and finely stippled, and nuclei are usually small and often demarcated by a rim of condensed chromatin. In many cases, the nuclear membrane is deeply subdivided, imparting a convoluted appearance. In keeping with the aggressive clinical behavior, there will be the mitotic rate is high. As with the other rapidly growing lymphoid tumors, interspersed macrophages ingesting apoptotic tumor cells, they may impart a starry sky appearance. Definitive diagnosis relies on the stain performed with antibodies specific for B and T cell antigens. Histochemical stains are also helpful in that, in contrast to myeloblast, lymphoblast, they will be myeloperoxidase negative and periodic acid skip positive. This picture, it shows the blast. As you can see, the cytoplasm is basophilic and their nuclei, they are enlarged as compared to a mature lymphocyte. This is a mature lymphocyte, and you can see in comparison that these all blasts, their nucleus size is enlarged. Behind the picture is the flow cytometric representation. These are the markers. Don't worry, you will be briefed in the next slide. These are the intracellular TDD. TDD is positive in both BLL and TALL. And CD22, CD19 and CD10. These are the marker of B cells. So TDD is positive, which means it is either TALL or BALL. And this shows the CD22 is positive. And next, two stains are performed, CD19 and CD10. So CD22, CD19 and CD10, these three stains, they are positive, and it is a BALL. Now we are going to see a different shapes of blast which are present in ALL. This is a nucleoli, and you can see that the structure of nucleus is uniform, is almost uniform. The nucleus is about the nucleus of all these blasts, they are almost of same size, and there are nucleoli. This is the second representation in which the nucleus is of different or varied structures. And this is a third representation in which there is vacuolation in the cytoplasm. And this appearance is called Burkitt phenotype, and it has a very adverse prognosis. So how to differentiate between myeloblast and lymphoblast morphologically? First of all, the lymphoblasts, they have more condensed chromatin, and as a result of condensed chromatin, the nuclei, they are less conspicuous, and the smaller amount of cytoplasm and the granules, they are absent. If these three characteristics are present, they are most likely, or in 90% of the cases, they are lymphoblast. Immunophenotype. Immunostaining for the terminal deoxynucleotide transferase TDD, a specialized DNA polymerase that is expressed only in the pre-B and pre-T lymphoblast, is positive in more than 95% of the cases. BLL, they are arrested at various stages of pre-B cell development. The lymphoblasts usually express the pan-B cell marker CD19 and transcription factor PX5 as well as CD10. In very immature BLL, CD10 is negative. Alternatively, more mature late pre-BLL, they express CD10, CD19, CD20 and cytoplasmic IgM heavy chain. So CD10, 19 and 20, they are markers of BALL. Similarly, TALLs, they are arrested at various stages of pre-T cell development. In most cases, the cells are positive for CD1, 2, 5 and 7. The more immature tumors are usually negative for surface CD3, CD4 and CD8, whereas late pre-T cell tumors, they are positive for these markers. Prognosis. Pediatric ALL is one of the greatest success stories of oncology. With aggressive chemotherapy, about 95% of children with ALL obtain a complete remission, and 75 to 85% they are cured. Despite these achievements, however, ALL remains the leading cause of cancer death in children, and only 35% to 40% of the adults are cured. So what are the prognostic factors? This question is very important regarding your university exam. So several factors are associated with the worst prognosis. Age younger than 2 years, largely because of the strong association of infantile ALL with translocation involving the MLL gene. When the MLL gene is appreciated, it represents a worst prognosis. Second is the presentation in adolescence or adulthood. Peripheral blood blast count greater than 100,000, which probably reflects a high tumor burden. Notably, The molecular detection of residual disease after therapy is predictive of worst outcome in both B and T ALL and is guide being used to guide new clinical trials. And the favorable prognostic factors include age between 2 and 10 years, low white cell count, hyperdiploidy, trisomy of chromosome 4, 7, and 10, and the presence of a translocation 12 to 21. This table summarizes the prognostic factors of ALL. Both the good and the poor prognostic factors they are mentioned, as we have already read already, that if the WBC count is low, it will be a good prognosis, and if it appears in the girls, they have a better prognosis. BALL child and cytogenetics normal or hyperdiploidy EVT6 rearrangements, they have a good prognosis, and if it takes less than 1 week to clear the blast from the blood on a treatment, and it take less than 4 weeks to of reappearance or remission, these are the bad prognosis. And if there is involvement of CNS, sorry, if it takes less than 1 week to clear the blast from the blood, and their remission time is less than 4 weeks, then it is a good, these are the good prognostic markers. And if the CNS disease is absent at the presentation, it is also a good factor. Minimal residual disease, if it is negative at 1 month in children and 3 months in adult. And the poor prognostic factors are high WBC count, and if it presents in boys, TALL, adults or infant less than 1 years. The cytogenetics which have worse prognosis or worse outcome are translocation 922 and 11q23, which is a MLL rearrangement, hypodiploidy. And if it takes greater than 1 week to clear the blast from the blood, and it takes greater than 4 weeks to completely cure the disease, they are having a bad prognosis. CNS disease as presentation and minimal residual disease, if it is still present at 3 to 6 months, these hold a worst or the poor prognosis. Thank you.